let's see what Dan has to say about it. Okay, so yeah, let me get that set up for you guys, and we're gonna get into it.
Hey, it's Boogie. I played T-Bo on Nickelodeon's iCarly. I got a chance to watch the Quiet on Set program, and I reached out to Dan to see if it was something that he'd be willing to discuss. I'm pleased to say that he said yes.
Ooh.
Dan, how are you?
I'm okay. I really appreciate you reaching out and giving me the opportunity to talk to you about what we saw over the last 2 nights.
I'm really glad you're here because I believe this
He
is
sound.
important.
I'm finna turn him up a little bit, y'all.
We've got a lot of things
Turn
to
it up for y'all.
unpack. But before I dive into my list of topics that I'd like to discuss, is there anything you'd like to start off with?
Absolutely. Watching over the past 2 nights was very difficult. Me facing my past behaviors,
I'm turning it up for y'all.
some of which are embarrassing and that I regret. And I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology.
Let's talk about the massages.
Okay.
Watching the content yesterday was disturbing.
It was wrong. It was wrong that I ever put anybody
Y'all
in that
are
position. It was the wrong thing to do. I'd never do it today. I'm embarrassed that I did it then. I apologize to anybody that ever put in that situation. And even additionally, I apologize to the people who were walking around Video Village or wherever they happened, because there were lots of people there who witnessed it who also may have felt uncomfortable. So I owe them an apology as well. Yeah.
Dan, talk to me about the writer's room. From what I saw, not cool.
No, and I'm gonna cut right to the chase. Let me just say, no writer should ever feel uncomfortable in any writer's room, ever, period, the end, no excuses. Most TV writers, comedy writers have been in writers' rooms, and they are aware that a lot of times there are inappropriate jokes made and inappropriate topics come up. But the fact that I participated in that, especially when I was leading the room, it embarrasses me. I shouldn't have done it. And I can tell you why it hurts really bad for me. I remember very clearly my early experiences, my first experiences in the entertainment business. I was green, I was scared, I was excited. It meant the world to me that I was getting those opportunities. And I went in and I got lucky because they were great. My first couple of experiences were fantastic. And the fact that I didn't pay that forward to every employee that walked through my door, it hurts my heart, because I should have. And I wish I could go back and fix that. In the writer's room, there's no doubt that sometimes those jokes went beyond the pale, and I said things that went too far, or made practical jokes that went too far, and that was wrong. And that was because, I was an inexperienced producer, I was immature.
Bro, the jokes, okay, you know what? Man, I don't even know what to say. He said, the jokes I make. Okay, because y'all, at the end of every Victorious episode, okay, with the trailer part, the Dan Schneider little oven thing, whatever, like the little credits. At the end of every Victorious episode, they always take a line from like the script or from the episode, and the line that they pick makes it sound so sexual, like it's sexualized. Like, it sounds sexualized. And I'm like, bro, we don't stand Dan. Okay, all right, that's enough. I'm going back into the video.
Wouldn't happen today, but I'm just really sorry it happened.
Yeah. Now, we know you've had a lot of success over 2 decades. Thousands of people have worked with you, for you. Speak directly to the people who did not have a good experience.
He not even a fart.
Okay, I would like to speak to those people, because I hate that anybody worked for me and didn't have a good time. You know me, you've been on my sets. Look, I've had some employees that have worked for me for 10 years, some more than 20 years, who will work with me again. But not everybody. There's still a significant number that didn't have a great time working for me. So my batting average isn't nearly high enough in that area.
Well, duh. Okay.
The way they wouldn't get the best of me is that
his
I would
fit
let the
though.
pressure
T-Bo fit
of doing 40 or even more episodes per year. I would let that pressure get to me, which a good boss should never ever do.
Was there specific things that you were doing?
Sure. I would snap at people sometimes. I would be snarky when I could have given them a nicer answer. I would not give people the time that they needed. I would be in too big a hurry to get on to the next thing I had to do. And watching that show, it made me there were so many times I wanted to pick up a phone and call some of those people and say, I'm so sorry, and let's talk about it. And I wish you'd had a better time, and I wish I could have shown you a better experience.
Yeah. Now, you've written hundreds of episodes. Thousands of jokes have been told.
Yeah.
But currently where we are, some people think that some of those jokes are inappropriate for children.
Did I just say that?
What do you think of that?
All these jokes that you're speaking of, that the show covered over the past 2 nights, every one of those jokes was written for a kid audience because kids thought they were funny and only funny. Okay?
Yeah.
Now we have some adults looking back at them 20 years later through their lens, and they're looking at them and they're saying, oh, I don't think that's appropriate for a kid show. And I have no problem with that. If that's how anyone feels, let's cut those jokes out of the show. Just like I would have done.
Okay, look at T-Bone. We'll cut them out. What? All right. I was very confused by the ghostly bra. No. Like, what? Okay, kids don't think about bras. No, for real. Okay, because that Icarly, that was like, the bra, and all that type of stuff. And then, this is what I was just saying about Victorious. Like, okay, some of these jokes, the thing about, no. Like, what? When I was a kid, when I was younger, yeah. Okay, I found it funny. Ha ha, hardy har har. Okay, I'm older, and I'm looking at these Nickelodeon shows, and I'm like, bro, really? That's what he meant? Really? All these jokes. No, Kat's brother, yeah, that was a bit, I kind of found that weird as I was watching it. Like, I kind of had some suspicions about that. No, Tebow is a mood. Bro, I need this to be like a meme. This is a whole mood. Like, okay, cut it out then. Like, I need this. Bro, Tebow getting down and serious. I'm finna go back a little bit because I want him to finish this statement. I'm going back a little bit.
I have no problem with that. If that's how anyone feels, let's cut those jokes out of the show. Just like I would have done 20 years ago or 25 years ago.
Okay, why didn't you do it?
I want my shows to be popular. I want everyone to like. The more people who like the shows, the happier I am.
Yeah.
So if there's anything in a show that needs to be cut because it's upsetting somebody, let's cut it.
So I think it's big for you to say with your work, if it's viewed as that today, you don't have a problem.
Cut it. Cut it.
That's a solution.
The last thing I want to ever do is put any content in a show that's going to upset my audience and make them want to turn off the TV. Why would I ever want to do that?
That makes sense.
Okay.
I want to give you an opportunity to kind of elaborate on something.
Okay.
All right.
The thought process from the series is you had the power to just write a joke, and no matter what, it's going on TV. You just had that type of power. Is that true?
The notion that I had the power to just produce whatever I wanted and have it air is completely false.
Okay.
There were many, many levels of scrutiny. Okay? We had executives in LA. We had executives in New York.
So two coasts.
Two coasts of approval. Yes. And by the way, approval at every stage, really. Okay. And I'm talking about wardrobe. I'm talking about makeup, sound, sets, dialogue, jokes, everything.
Now, when you say approval, these obviously that's a hierarchy, not your colleagues or people in the room. Okay.
No, not my colleagues. No, these are my bosses. Bosses, and then their bosses, and then their bosses. And they're approving all of this stuff. Okay? So, and we're also shooting it in front of all sorts of adults and caregivers and the set teacher and the families. Everybody's watching it.
Bro.
And if anybody had...
Time out. Okay, but why do it in the first place? Why do it in the first place if he said he would have done it back then? That's what I'm saying. Well, if you know that this was going to be a problem, and if you knew people were already having this problem when you released the episodes or the show, then cut it. Why didn't you cut it then? Why does it take you 25 years to be like, oh, I would have cut it then? I wouldn't have let anybody cut off my TV show because of it seems like an inappropriate joke. Okay, cut it. Secondly, when it comes to production and stuff like that, yeah, there's going to be people who has to approve of all this. There's like CEOs and like higher ups that's going to be like, okay, we approve of this. My thing is, if the higher ups approve of it, what was going through the higher ups' mind to be like, well, that joke doesn't seem like, that's fine. Ha ha ha. We can accept it. We approve it. Okay. So y'all just like kind of piggybacking on this man on the show. I'm not getting it. And I think it was all about the money. I honestly think it was about the money. Oh, this show is getting good. If there is no problem, I feel like they avoided all the problems. If people had problems back then with the jokes, and stuff, I feel like they avoided all that. I feel like it was like, this show is making me some good money. Oh, but there's like a couple of complaints. People just want to talk. We don't care about the criticism they're giving. They're not important. Keep the show running. Like, what? Why put your, well, fine, I'm going to say it then. Why push your fetish on child stars? They don't know what's going on. It is, you know what I'm saying? They don't know what's going on.
Said anything. Hey, we don't like that. That's not appropriate. Then it would have been cut out.
Now, I'm gonna push back a little bit because the series painted you in this way that you were just the guy that was doing what he wanted, and people were afraid to confront you about things. So just humor me. Say that was the case. What would have been the ultimate way to?
Okay. If nobody on the set, if all of the dozens and dozens of adults that were on the set, if they didn't say anything, if my bosses said, if they insisted, you got to make a change here, you got to cut that, I had to do it. I had no choice.
Got it. Now this next one, it kind of hit close to home. Being a new father, I wouldn't be opposed to my child being in the entertainment industry. It doesn't matter what age, yeah? Seeing some of those on-air dares, seeing it now from where you are now in your life, what do you think of that?
I think that some of the on-air dares went too far. I think they pushed the envelope too far. Not all of them, not most of them, but some did. Nickelodeon wanted to do their version of Fear Factor. At the time we were shooting All That. I do remember that. So I was tasked with doing these on-air dares with the All That cast. So we get with the writers and we come up with all these ideas. And it's hard to do because we don't have the budget of Fear Factor, and we can't put the kids in dangerous situations like the adults are put in. So it was hard to come up with stuff. But we would come up with all these ideas of dares they could do. We would give them to the network, and they would say, tell us the ones that were okay. Right. Those are the ones we shot. Those are the ones that aired. At the time, I had no indication that any kid ever had a problem with them. But when I was watching the show over the past 2 nights, I now know that there were.
Do you hear her?
Wait a second. Problems.
No, Shadow, for real, he could have stopped it. He had the authority to stop it. But not even him by himself. The higher ups had authority to stop it. Since he's saying over here, well, it can't get approved through my colleagues. It can't be approved through my colleagues. You know what I'm saying? It has to be approved by higher ups. But my thing is, you're the director, boom, we're going to send this out to the higher ups and see if they approve of it. I feel like those are the final say. So my thing is this a problem with Dan and the higher ups? Because y'all approved of it. So like, what are we? It's not matching. What's not clicking, Steven? It's not clicking. Take the episode off. Like, bro, I've heard they canceled SpongeBob episodes because they banned SpongeBob episodes. You can ban SpongeBob episodes, which is just an animation, but you can't you can't ban episodes that's dealing with real life people, like real human beings. Stuff is really happening to them, but you can cancel a freaking animation, a freaking episode of a cartoon, but you can't cancel a freaking episode. Like, bro, I don't understand, bro. I don't understand. This is impactful on people. This ain't gonna impact no dang on cartoon. It's not gonna impact the character in the cartoon. It's gonna. Now, the person who wrote the cartoon, darn. Oh, darn. All my hard work versus, bro, I am mentally unstable. I cannot handle this man. I feel uncomfortable. I'm getting anxiety. What? We would give them to the network, and they would say, tell us the ones that were okay. Right. Those are the ones we shot. Those are the ones that aired. At the time, I had no indication that any kid ever had a problem with them. But when I was watching the show over the past 2 nights, I now know that there were kids who did have problems with the on-air dares.
And it breaks my heart. And I'm so sorry. I am so sorry to any kid who ever had to do a dare or anything that they didn't want to do or weren't comfortable doing. We went out of our way to make sure they were safe and that everything was done properly. But if a kid was scared and didn't want to do it, kids shouldn't have had to do it.
Yeah.
Period, the end.
Right.
And if I had known at the time, I would have changed it on the spot.
Now, we also saw the series highlight 2 former writers of yours, 2 women, who spoke about a wage discrepancy.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to go back with what Tebow just said. Tebow said something. I'm going to go back and let him finish the question.
We also saw the series highlight 2 former writers of yours, 2 women, who spoke about a wage discrepancy. Now, I know that you don't divvy out salaries. Talk to me about that part.
Well, you're correct. I have nothing to do with paying writers. I never have. I've never made a writer's deal. And of all the writers I've been in a writer's room with, I never even knew how much most of them were getting paid.
Yeah, but we saw these 2 women who were writers for you sharing one salary. How does that happen?
It's very simple. There's a common practice in television when hiring writers. If you have a spot for a new writer, sometimes you'll go to 2 writers and say, hey, if you 2 new writers for your first job are willing to share a salary, you can both have the job. They have the opportunity to say, yes,
Pause. What? That is, I have never heard that in my life. If you guys want to split the salary, then go ahead. What? I have never. Who? Okay. Never heard that in my life. Why would you split? I want to, was it a race thing? No, was it a thing? I'm not trying to throw like, oh, because they're both female writers. Because they're both female. I'm just trying to see, because Tebow said specifically, 2 female writers said they were splitting a salary.
Or no, thank you. In this case, it was 2 women writers. I've done another show where that teaming was done with 2 male writers, and they split a salary. I did another show where it was a male and a female writer, and they split a salary. So,
and these are all first-time writers.
All first-time writers.
Right, first-time writers.
Their first gig.
Got it. Now, in the series, they also highlighted 2 black actors who said that they felt overlooked. Now, I want to be clear.
Who?
I'm never going to speak on anyone else's journey.
Who?
Yeah, I can talk about my experience, how my experience was with you, what I saw prior to working with you. But again, I don't want to speak on anyone's journey. I saw you be honored for diversity in your work.
Yes, and the reason for that is diversity has always been very important to me in my shows. If you go back to the very first Nickelodeon show I ever made, that's very evident, as it is in the second one, and then the first movie I ever made for Nickelodeon, which starred Kenan and Kel, and every show I did after that had a lead black actor in it. I'm very proud of that. It's very important to me. And not only am I proud that they were in my shows, I'm exceptionally proud of the achievements they've had beyond my shows, and they've gone on to bigger and better things, and that gives me a great sense of pride.
Well, something that really kind of bothered me was...
Dang, he said something that bothered me. Okay, can I just throw my predictions out there? I have not watched, like I said, I didn't watch the show. I didn't watch The Quiet on Set. Can I just throw my predictions out there? He said 2 black actresses. I feel like 1, Andre from Victorious. Maybe not. I'm just throwing it. I'm just throwing first people that come to my head. Andre out here doing this on Leon Thomas. This man got a Grammy the other time. This man got a Grammy this year, right? Yeah, maybe him. Maybe.
How they depicted your relationship with the cast.
Yeah, it bothered me too.
Yeah, just me being there, I knew the dynamic was trust. I understood that in situations where they may have had turmoil, whether it be with their families, whether it be other castmates, they came to you. Versus how they made you look. With that said, Amanda Bynes was brought up in the series and her emancipation and how you were involved in that. Can you talk to us about it a bit?
Sure. Amanda was between the ages of 16 and 17, and she wanted to get emancipated from her parents, which was a fairly common thing with successful young actors, at least at the time.
Sure.
And she wanted that for herself. So she turned to her team, which included her lawyer, her agent, her manager, her publicist, me, because she included me as part of her team, thought of me that way. We supported her. She tried to get emancipated. It ended up not working out, and she didn't.
Well, since we're here, let's stay here for a moment. There was also an incident where she had ran away from home, if you would. Can you talk to us a little bit just to clear the air of exactly what happened in that situation?
Yes. One night, it was very late, well after midnight, 1 or 2 in the morning. Phone rang. I answered. It was Amanda. She was upset. She was in distress.
Girl.
She had some conflict with her parents, I think her father.
Okay, Amanda. Girl, wait a second. I don't know what all the Amanda drama. I don't know much about it. Okay. How old was Dan? This is a 16, 17-year-old girl calling. I don't know how old Dan was back then, but you trust that man this much to be calling this man at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He might have been in his 30s. He must have been 30-something.
And she called me. I was immediately concerned about her safety.
Mm-hmm.
I called someone who I knew was fairly nearby. That person was able to go and pick her up. Then I knew she was safe. I felt better. She ended up being taken to the police.
Well, regardless of what some people may think, I think it's only positive that you are there for people when they need you. That said, let's talk about some of the things that have just been swirling forever.
Are you being for real?
You were banned from your set.
Never happened.
What?
That is a false rumor.
What happened?
Add it to the list of false rumors.
Talk to me. What happened?
They were adult actresses at the time, and they had their own specific reasons for not wanting to do the show anymore. I'm not judging that. It got tense, and what they don't know, maybe, is I did everything I could to make that show go away. My producer partner at the time, we would call and say, this is not a good situation.
Okay.
So I decided I'm going to do what most showrunners do, which is you're not on the set. There's a director there to shoot it. I'll go up to the writer's room. I'll work on the next script. But because everybody was so used to me caring about every detail of every show so much, for me not to be on the set, yeah, maybe some people thought I got banned.
So it was more of an assumption because this guy's usually here and now he's not.
I don't know if it was an assumption. I don't know if somebody thought they were making me look bad by saying I got banned from the set. I have no idea.
Okay.
All I know is I was never banned from the set.
Yep. The darkest part of this series discussed child predators. Now, I want to make sure that we clear a couple of things up.
Okay.
Brian Peck was not hired by you.
No, I did not hire Brian Peck.
This was a Tolan Robbins production?
Yeah. And when Drake and I talked and he told me what had happened, I was more devastated by that than anything that ever happened to me in my career thus far. And I told him, I'm here for you. What do you need? Which Drake mentioned in the show that we watched last night. And next, I heard that he went to court when this guy was being tried, Peck. And when Drake walked in, he saw 50 people sitting on the side of the courtroom supporting Peck. A lot of them pretty famous. Of course, Drake was devastated that happened.
Mari, I'm done.
And even more disappointing, 41 of those people wrote letters for Peck, character letters, praising him for who he was and asking for leniency. And they knew that he was guilty. They knew he had confessed to some degree.
This guy stinks!
That's baffling that adults would do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people know this, but Drake's mom, a lovely woman, stay in contact with this
Bro,
man.
that scared me a little
She
bit.
came to me at the time and she said, Dan, I'm not good with words like you are. And would you help me with my speech for the judge?
Is this man about to cry?
I said, of course. And I did. And he ended up going to prison and serving his time. And yeah, that was probably the darkest part of my career. And here's the kicker that I really don't get. After he got out of prison and was, to my knowledge, a registered sex offender, he was hired on a Disney Channel show. I don't understand.
What?
That. I don't understand.
Yeah.
What?
I appreciate you sharing that, man. Are you okay? You want to take a minute?
Yeah, I might. Let's keep going.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we really unpacked some important things. We set the record straight on a lot of
Look
things.
how fast he stopped.
Before I let you get out of here, I appreciate the vulnerability that you use in knowing that there's definitely things that you would have and should have done differently.
That was fast. Like,
is there anything that we haven't discussed? Anything that if you could go back and navigate the journey differently, what would that look like?
Yeah, there's definitely things that I would do differently. One that I think would be really, really important is when you're hiring young actors, minors, to work in television, I would suggest that we have a licensed therapist there to oversee that process
you gotta be kidding
for the
me.
specific reason of making sure that those kids really wanted to do this job, that they really wanted to be on television.
Yeah.
Maybe they should even be informed about what that means. What's it going to mean if you're famous? What's that going to mean on social media? What's it going to mean within your family? Right. Let them find out. And then that way, if a kid doesn't want to be on a TV show, they can opt out.
Yeah.
That psychologist, that therapist could come to us and say, this kid doesn't want to do it, or their parents aren't understanding of what's going to come. And then we could avoid the mistake of ever putting a kid in a TV show that didn't want to be there. And additionally, the main thing that I would change is how I treat people and everyone. I definitely at times didn't give people the best of me. I didn't show enough patience. I could be cocky and definitely overambitious, and sometimes just straight up rude and obnoxious, and I am so sorry that I ever was. And all right, when I watched the show, I could see the hurt in some people's eyes, and it made me feel awful and regretful and sorry. I wish I could go back, especially to those earlier years of my career, and bring the growth and the experience that I have now and just do a better job and never, ever feel like it was okay to be an asshole to anyone ever. Look, I wanted to make funny TV shows for kids, and we definitely did that. But if I could go back, I would get it done in different ways. I'd just be nicer as often as possible and listen more to the people on my team. And I would do everything that I could to make sure that everyone had a good experience. That's what I do differently.
Dan, I appreciate your time.
I appreciate you.
Thanks for stopping by, man.
Thank you.
Give it a round of applause for Dan. You should have put him on Club Shay Shay, because I bet you Shay Shay would have got down and dirty. I bet you he would have been like, so, that interview would have been probably 4 hours long with Shay Shay. You know what's crazy? It's crazy because, like, people who really dream about being like, oh, I want to be an actor. I want to be in movies. Like, don't get me wrong. You can do that stuff. You can. But just be careful, because you just don't know what you're signing your life over to. Like, you don't know. Because you just don't know. For those out there who want to be actors or just... And please, don't force your child to be no actor. Please. I just don't understand. I just feel bad. Like, these are, even though these people have a status on them, like, even though these people are like, yeah, they're a celebrity, they have this celebrity status on them, they're still human beings. They still have feelings. They still have emotions. They're still human beings. Just because they have this coat of fame on them, when they take it off, they're still a human. Like, this is, come on. Like, come on. Really. I hope new TV shows that Nickelodeon is having and these new child stars that may be appearing on set and all this type of stuff, I hope they take this and I hope they see this and be like, mentally prepare themselves going into this. Like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is how I need to, like, get myself emotionally and mentally prepare myself, like, going into this. Because, man, And plus, you're still a child. You know, that's a lot on a child. It's a lot on a human. I don't know how to feel about the interview because I felt like some of that stuff he was saying was like, half of that stuff I don't believe. Half of it I don't believe. Some of it is like, okay, this is kind of suspicious. You know, like, I don't know. If you like this type of content, you like me react to this stuff, and you just like these type of videos, and you like me, hey, subscribe, leave a like, comment. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you think. What you think about the interview? What do you think about Dan? What do you think? Because it's a lot. Okay? It's a lot. It is a lot to handle.